welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie. In this video, I've remembered to film the intro this time. I'm going to be doing a Christmas pick from my kit. Basically, I just ransack my makeup collection and just pick out a load of products that I've maybe not used in a while. Just whatever I feel like picking up and just create some sort of makeup look. But obviously, because it's December, I tried to go with a Christmas sort of theme, hence the gold and the green. And so I'm hoping I will have time to film another Christmas pick from my kit as well. Anyway, I'm gonna go pop over to my makeup collection now and pick out the products.
Okay, so I've now made a list on my computer of all of the previous products that I've used in pick from my kit videos, so that way I won't repeat products and I can get you around to basically using everything in my collection, as these videos will probably be ongoing forever. So I'm going to start with primer, because it's like a Christmas look. Do I want a glowy primer? I've not used my Urban Decay Naked Skin bronzing beauty balm in a while. This does like make my face bronzy though, so maybe I should like mix it with something lighter. I don't know. This is not actually technically a primer, but it's like a liquid highlighter that I got in a cohort beauty box, which I don't like using liquid highlighters. The only thing I would use them for is like as a primer. So this is the Seas of Illumination Highlighting Liquid Rouge Bunny Rouge. It's not a brand I'd ever heard of before. Because it's obviously quite white and icy, as you can see, I might like mix that with the bronzing balm, and then hopefully we'll get like a nice just glowy dewy base. Next time I'll go matte with my primer. Okay, so foundation. So I was thinking through in my head last night what I wanted to use for this. One that did come to mind was Revolution Conceal and Define, just because I've not used it in a while, and obviously like loads of people have been using the Conceal and Hydrate recently because it's like a newer release, but kind of would like to revisit this one. Let me just see if there's anything else in here. Would quite like to use the NYX Control Drop foundation because that's been a very long time since I used it, but I remember really liking it. So maybe I'll use that one next time. Same with the Revolution Pro Full Cover Camouflage. That's been a while. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with my first instincts and go with the Conceal and Define. Revisit this. It's in the shade F1. I think they have added shades. I'm pretty sure, like I'm fairly certain that they've added more shades since I initially bought it. So I don't know if this is maybe a little bit dark for me. But from my memory, it worked okay, the shades. Okay, now we want a concealer. As I said in my last pick from my kit, I did want to give this one a go. This is one of the cheap ones I bought off of Amazon. In my Amazon series last year, I did actually do 2 videos. What is this brand? Writing has sort of faded off of it. All I can see is Skin Concealer and Poudier. I don't know, but I'll put a link to what it is below. 01 Pearl. I think it might be a tiny bit pink toned, but this would be good to brighten with, definitely. I want something to match my actual skin tone though as well. Been a while since I've used the EX1 Delete Fluid Concealer, and again, obviously this isn't a brightening shade. I think it just about matches my actual face, so I think that will work well, one to brighten, one to conceal my face. And again, in my last pick from my kit, I mentioned that I wanted to use this in my next one. It's B.O.B. Loose Powder. I think the brand is actually called like Jane Dream or something. As you can see, it's like a really cheap like Chinese brand off of Amazon. It will be in the light shade. I remember actually really liking the formula of this, but what put me off using it is that it was a little bit pinky, the tone, and I feel like it could make my base look a bit like just off, the wrong colour. But I remember actually thinking the finish was really nice, so we'll revisit it today and see what the case is. I've got my tree up in my bedroom. Ain't it cute? I was meant to use this in the last pick from my kit, but I completely forgot. I'd already set my face and then remembered I had it. So let's try our best to remember to use this today. It's a Collection Precision Contouring Stick in the lightest shade. And now we just want a bronzer. What's something I've not used in a while? One that did actually come to mind was these Vita Liberata Luxury Tan. I think they're called Bronzing Minerals. And again, these are in a cohorted beauty box and I actually really liked them. When I first got them. I mean, I still do, it's just I've got so many bronzers now that I forget to use the things I really like. So I think I'm going to use these ones. It is a loose bronzer, which I don't normally go for, but I did find that it worked really well. I definitely want a blush because I feel like I neglect blush. One that came to mind was a sleek one that was very red toned, because obviously I thought a red one would be a good festive colour to go for. So let me just find what it is. I think it was this one. So this is Sleek Flushed is the colour, and it's just a single blusher, a nice reddy toned one. Very festive. I do quite like these little sleek mini blushes. Okay, and now I need a highlighter. Because it's obviously Christmas, we really want to sparkle, so I've not actually used the Soph highlight palette a lot, to be honest. I really like her eyeshadow palette, although I've not used Extra Spice. I've just used the original one and I really like it, but I've not actually reached for this one a lot, and I don't know if there was a reason for it, because I know loads of people absolutely love this palette, so maybe I'm just sleeping on it. So actually I'm going to go for the Sophix Revolution highlighter palette. I know I should do eyebrows next, but I'm right near my eyeshadow palette. So obviously in my last pick from my kit I was talking about these 3 cargo ones I have. I used the Around the World one in that video, and I mean I thought the look turned out okay, but I wasn't super impressed with the palette. And then the other 2 we've got, so we've got this one which I think is Emerald City, which from my memory this was actually meant to be like a Christmas themed thing. I mean if you look at the packaging it does look like a sort of Christmassy sort of theme. I think it was in like a December cohorted box. And there's obviously this one, Wanderlust. In my opinion these colour schemes are very similar, so I'm going to use one and then I'm not even going to bother using the other one in a pick from my kit because I just think they're so similar. This is the Emerald City one. Greens, obviously great for Christmas. Some purples, some shimmers. I think, to be fair, the colours are pretty, but they're just not exciting. And with Wanderlust, I feel like these colours are the same. You've got green, you've got that purple, and then more neutral shades. Let me just put these side by side. Yeah, so that's them side by side. Do you not feel like this colour scheme is like really similar? See, that's the thing. That's why I don't want to use like both of them in separate pick from my kits, because I feel like they're so similar. But if I'm honest, I think this one, which is the Emerald City one, appeals to me a little bit more. It's just a little bit more lively, a little bit more sparkly, whereas this one seems a little bit more cooler almost. Like the colour scheme is very similar, but this one just seems like a more cooler toned version of this one, if you get what I mean. So I'm going to go with the Emerald City one. I think we could get a nice festive look out of it. And obviously this is my glitter and single eyeshadow drawer, and it's Christmas, we want to be sparkly. I do have a straight up green pigment from NYX, which I might use. This one's green too, but it's more like a garish neon green, which isn't really what I want to go for. This Barry M holographic eyeshadow topper has a bit of a greeny vibe to it. I was initially going to go with that green NYX pigment, but now I think I'm actually leaning more towards using this Barry M holographic eyeshadow topper. It's in Supernova. Well, it's like a couple years ago. It's just a glitter eyeliner, obviously it's green. I'm going to try and use that. I don't want a coloured pencil liner, I want to just stick to black. So I've actually used the majority of these black liquid liners now, because obviously, as I said, I've been writing down what I've been using. I've used the Bourjois Contour Clubbing, I've used the Deuce one. I've not used the Super Cat, I don't think. I've not used the NYX one. I have used the Ciate Double Lines. I have used the Lord and Berry. The only ones I haven't used is this Ico one, this other Ciate one, the NYX one, and the Super Cat. So there's 4 I haven't used. The NYX one has got like barely any product left in it. Okay, so I just looked and there's literally barely anything coming off the applicator, so I think I am just going to throw this one away, which is a shame. It was a good liquid liner. I probably would rebuy it because I feel like I'm quite picky with them. I'm going to go with the Super Cat one. And eyeliner pencil now for the waterline. I've not used this one. This is the LA Girl Glide eyeliner. I think I bought this either last year or the year before. I think it was the year before actually. Not used this in a while. It's just a standard black eyeliner pencil. Let's go with this one. And now we just need brows and mascara. I used this Becca one in the last video, and then I was toying between either the Ka-Brow Gel and the Foolproof Brow Powder by Benefit. Obviously I used the gel in the last one, so I think I will actually try and do a powdery brow, which I don't do very often. That's what it looks like. I think I'd probably go with the more darker side here. I'll just use a clear gel that I've got on my vanity with it. As per usual, most of these are probably dried up, so we need something with moisture in it. Check on this one. This is Gosh, my favourite mascara, which I remember not liking very much, so I barely used it, but let's see if there's anything in it. Hard to tell, but I think it's got moisture in it. CYO, the volumizing mascara, because I feel like if I'm going for that one, I kind of want to use 2 to just really build up the volume. Yeah, the CYO one seems to have some moisture in. They're both, I mean, they're not both rich with moisture, but I think they've got enough to be able to do something with my lashes, so I'm going to just layer these 2, see what I can get. From my memory, neither of these are particularly great, so we'll just build them up furiously, I guess. So the lip product that I said I wanted to use was this Morphe liquid lipstick, because it's literally like a molten gold colour, really pretty. So I'm just going to stick with that. I don't really feel like I got any sort of lip liner that's going to suit a gold lip, so I think I'll just stick with this. I feel like this would also work really well to use on the eyes, but we've got so many eye products already that we don't really need to. In conclusion, we've got this Rouge Buddy Rouge liquid highlighter, but I'm going to use it as a primer to mix with Urban Decay Bronzing Beauty Balm, Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation, EX1 Delete Fluid Concealer, this cheap one off Amazon that I'm not 100% sure on the name of, this loose powder which I think is called like Jane Dream on Amazon, Vita Liberata Luxury Tan Bronzing Minerals, Sleek Blush and Flushed, Collection Precision Contouring Pencil, which hopefully I'll remember to use this time, Soph X Highlighter Palette, Benefit Foolproof Brow Powder, LA Girl Glide On Eyeliner Pencil, Soap & Glory Super Cat Liquid Liner, gosh my favourite mascara, CYO Thick of It Mascara, Barrier Holographic Eyeshadow Topper, Supernova, Paint Glow Glitter Eyeliner, the green one, Cargo Emerald City Eyeshadow Palette, and this Morphe Liquid Lipstick. The shade is literally called Goldie, which is very appropriate. Okay, so as per usual, we're going to start with eyes. So let's use the EX1 concealer to prime them. I'm quite interested to see what the coverage is like on my eyelids. It's a good place to kind of test it because my eyelids are really veiny, like, look at them veins. Shade is 1.0, the lightest shade. It's quite warm toned. Yeah, it's very warm toned. It's kind of pale. It's not the palest, but I think on the outer parts of my face I should be fine. I just couldn't use it to brighten or anything. I've really put way too much on there. That's thick. Okay, so I definitely put way too much on, but I actually do think that has got pretty good coverage. Like, that's covered the veins for the most part. I can see them like a really small amount, but for the most part, like, pretty good coverage. I'd say high medium, low full maybe. But we'll have to see what it does on my skin over foundation. I'm going to use the, I'm just going to call it the BOB powder. It's listed as something different, but again, it is the sort of thing where you can tap it in the lid. I hate it when loose powders don't have like a detachable lid, because then you can't put the powder in anything. But luckily this one does have one. Okay, so I'm going to use that powder to set that down. As per usual, I'm going to do one eyeshadow look off camera. Hopefully we'll get something nice and festive and sparkly and amazing and green. But we'll see, because things don't always go right when I try and do eyeshadow. We'll be back with one eye done. So we're back with one eye done. I don't even know what to think of it. Like, part of me likes it, part of me hates it. I just... whatever. Again, like I said with the first Cargo palette, I feel like the colours have a tendency to go quite like deep and dull, and they look like more vibrant in the pans than like, it's not that they're not pigmented, it's just like the colour kind of comes off different to how it looks. For the crease I used, well initially I did use Mount Rainma, this one here, but then I kind of just went over it with this one, so I'm just going to stick with this one because it basically turned into that one in the end. It's very deep, like I feel like it looks like it's going to be lighter than it actually is. And I had this in the outer third as well. I know you shouldn't put glimmers in a crease, but you should probably also wipe off any of the shadows from your brush before you start. We'll use a bit of Mount Rainbow, which is like slightly lighter, greeny sort of colour. I'm going to use that over that as well to diffuse it. Just looks a bit dull, don't you think?
Like it looks really sparkly green, pretty in the pan, and then it just kind of comes out a bit dull looking, a bit more grey than it is greeny. I'm using the same dark shade I've literally just been using, but I'm using a finger this time and just packing it on the outer third, which I feel like it does come out a bit better when you use it on your finger. Like you can see more of the sparkle in it. I'm using my finger again, and I'm using the Hill, which is a bit of a lighter sparkly green colour, and that's just going like over the centre part, and it just looks like a bit of a mess, but it sort of comes together, sort of. And I did use a bit of this one, which I thought was a purple, but it's actually like a deep matte brown. It's called Coffee. And I'm just putting a bit of that in the outer third as well to sort of deepen it. It's already pretty deep, but you know. Then I'm using the shimmery sort of whitey pink called Northwest under my brow bone. And I'm using the Amazon concealer, which has a very small doe foot. And I'm just cutting the crease just in the inner third. Over there I'm using the gold shade in this palette called Lake Union. And that's going where I've put the concealer. And I'm using the Hill, the light green shade, to blend with that gold. For the crease, I'm blending the darker green again. Adding a bit more of the dark brown. Then I'm using the Barry holographic eyeshadow topper, and that's just going between the gold and the outer third. And this is super sparkly. So next I'm using the Super Cat by Soap & Glory, which I think is fairly easy to use, but it's not a very intense black, which is my issue with it. I feel like it's a bit faint. I wish it was just a bit more pigmented and intense looking, but I feel like it's fairly easy to get a wing with. Okay, and over the top of that liquid liner, I'm going to put the Paint Glow glitter. Next I'm using the LA Girl Glide Gel eyeliner, and very black is the shade. And this is going on my top and bottom waterlines, and it works pretty decently. Pigment's pretty good. It's not like the creamiest one in this sort of style that I've found. But then again, it's a bit old, so it probably was a bit creamier when I first had it. Now I'm using the two mascaras. So I'm using the Gosh one first, and then the CYO one. And I mean, like, as you can see, look, it's done a little bit of something. It's not like a non-existent eyelash, but it's a little bit clumpy looking. Do you kind of think it looks a bit clumpy? And it's just not got the most volume, but like, it did something. It's better than no mascara, you know. So I'm using the Gosh one first, and then I'm layering the CYO one over the top. I think the Gosh one is probably better than the CYO one, because the CYO one didn't really add much to it. I feel like the Gosh one did most of the work. Maybe be a little bit more festive. I mean, I feel like it's got the main sort of colours in there. We've got green, we've got gold. It's just that kind of smokiness maybe isn't the most festive aspect of it, but it's alright. It's not the worst look I've done, is it? We're going to move on to base now. I'm going to get a mix of the Urban Decay Bronzing Beauty Balm For all I know, this is discontinued. It was like one of the first products I got when I started Cohorted, which was about 2, maybe 3 years ago. I think probably 2 actually. This one was like a more recent Cohort thing. Yeah, they're both Cohorted products. I feel like I got this earlier this year, I think is when I got this, and I've not really used it a lot. I don't like liquid cream highlights, that sort of thing. It's just not for me, but I'm going to mix this with the Beauty Balm and use it as a primer instead. I mean, like, it's pretty. It's just very pale. And obviously the Urban Decay one is quite deep, so it's also a little bit watery. You know, like sometimes when you have products that are a bit old, like base products, like anything that's kind of, you squeeze out, it's gone a bit like there's bits of water in it, as if it's like kind of old, which is a bit gross. Just thought I'd let you know. Okay, that's the sort of colour we got. Still more bronzy, but I'm going to put this on all over my face and probably down my neck a little bit as well. It's weird because they've both got 2 very different smells. The Urban Decay one has a sort of like fake tanny kind of smell. It's not the most pleasant. But the Bunny Rouge Bunny one smells quite nice. So they've just kind of mixed together to make a very strange smell. Okay, so we're going to go in with Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation in the shade F1, which I bought quite late last year, I think. It was like probably a couple months after it was released. If I were to buy this, like, if I was buying this like now, I'd probably get like 0.3 or something, but F1's fine. Like, I don't feel like I need to mix it or anything. Like, it's definitely a really neutral undertone, and maybe a tiny bit, I don't know actually. It's hard to tell now because my face looks a bit bronzier than it did before, but if I'm looking at it close to my neck, I feel like they do look pretty similar. Like, my neck's a little bit warmer, a little bit more olivey, whereas this is very neutral, but I feel like in terms of the shades, it's pretty similar. Okay, I actually think that looks really nice. It's more matte. I wouldn't say it's super duper matte, like it's got a tiny bit of dew coming through, but it's more of a matte foundation compared to like the Conceal and Hydrate anyway. See, it's pale, but I just feel like there's a colour difference. Like, my neck is just looking way more like yellowy and my face is looking way more like neutral. I don't know, maybe there's a tiny bit of pink in that as well. I'm just going to bring it down my neck a little bit. It is pale though, it's just the undertones are maybe not right for me. So that's why I would get like 0.3 if I were to buy it again, because that's more of a warmer one. It looks really nice, it's got pretty good coverage. It's got a really like flawless sort of smooth looking finish. So we're going to use the Amazon foundation. Again, this looks a little bit pink as well. So hey, at least it will sort of go with foundation. But as you can see, it is obviously paler than my skin, so we're going to use it to brighten. The doe foot is really tiny. Actually, I don't know if it's tiny or if it's just because we've gotten so used to the big ones because they're like all the rage, and like most concealers tend to have massive doe foots now, so maybe this is just what was normal before. It's definitely really brightening. It has got a bit of coverage to it, but I wouldn't say it's like full coverage, but it definitely has added some coverage. It's not like really light coverage or anything, just like solid or medium coverage concealer. It seems to be sitting fine on the skin. It's a little bit more oily, I would say, than it is matte. I'm going to use a bit of the EX1 concealer, which is more warm toned, aka what I actually want, and quite a bit deeper than what I've got on already. I'm just going to put a little bit on my nose and just around my mouth, which is where I've got blemishes. That's all I really need it for. Okay, I do think that has added some coverage actually. Again, I don't think it's full coverage. Because then again, these blemishes I have around my mouth never cover fully anyway, even with full coverage concealers. Now let's not forget this time to contour. I might go back to the Amazon concealer as well to add more brightness to the face. This is a pretty good colour. It's more cool toned. Yeah, it's definitely more cool toned. So start with my nose, which I am getting more back into nose contouring, although I tend to do it with powder after I've set my base. I don't really cream contour a lot at all, to be honest. I would like to get back into it. I think it's just like, it's just another step really, isn't it, to add. If I haven't got the time, then you know, I haven't got the time. That's blended out super well. It doesn't look too harsh, doesn't look too orangey, just a nice little bit of definition. I think if you want a more intense contouring product though, it's not that. But I personally don't want my contour to look super harsh. I want it to blend out sort of, so it's just like more of a really subtle shadow, more than anything, which I feel like that's done. To give it more of a contoured effect, I'm just gonna add a little bit of the lighter concealer. Down the bridge of my nose, on my forehead. Might as well do Cupid's bow chin as well. So we're gonna set our face with the BOB powder. My memory, again, it's a bit pink, but as I said, some of the products we've used today on my face are already pink, so maybe it will suit them. I don't know if you can see just like the contrast between where I've stopped blending the foundation and where my actual chest is. You probably can't because there's a lot of things that never show up accurately on camera. So I'm going to use my usual method when it comes to loose powders, which is this little sponge here, and I use this bit to do under my eyes and then this circular bit to do the rest of my face. It works on most powders, but not all of them. I do need a new sort of like, it's not baking because I don't bake, it's just setting my face with a sponge because I prefer that to brushes, but I need to find some more sponges that I feel like are the right sort of shape, because I feel like with just like a standard sponge like this, I need it to be more precise so I can get right like under my eyes like intricately, whereas I just don't feel like you could do it too well with these sorts of sponges, which is why I like this, because I can get quite into my eye. But then this is, you know, I feel like this is getting a bit ratty now, so I'm just gonna set my whole face with the powder then. How to feel about the powder. Again, obviously I'd have to try it in a different base to really see what the colour's like, but obviously it's sort of blended into the pink toned product, so it makes me think it is a bit too pink toned. It looks a tiny bit heavy on the skin, a little bit cakey, but overall it's quite smooth. It's mattified pretty well. It's not separated under my eyes. It just looks a bit heavy, and it does look heavy under the eyes as well. But again, I'd have to try it with different base products, maybe more lightweight base products, because I did have a lot on with all that contouring. I'm going to try out the Vita Liberata Luxury. Ooh. Again, you've got a lid that you can tap the product into, which is great. It did actually come with a brush when I got it, which is this one here, so I might as well just use that with it. It's a pretty decent bronzing brush, but I'd obviously rather it had like a proper handle as opposed to like a half handle. That's really nice. It just blends out really seamlessly. Even though like it goes on and it's like quite pigmented, it blends out really well. Obviously I can't really comment on if the shade is great for pale skin because my skin looks very off. Well, I mean, like, it's not even that my face looks dark. It doesn't look dark, it just looks the wrong undertones, and I feel like, so in terms of paleness, actually I think it's fine. Like, it doesn't look too orangey or too red or anything like that. So it is a really nice bronzing product, but would I have brought it if it wasn't in a cohorted beauty box? Probably not, because it is expensive, but I do think it's nice. I prefer to highlight before I do my blush, actually. So we're going to the Soft X highlighter palette from Revolution. What shade? I think I'm going to go with this sort of peachy, but it's quite pale at the same time. This shade here, that looks really nice. I'm going to go in with that one. Now that the powder's settling on my skin, it does look quite flawless actually. And I feel like that bronzer does a really good job at like sort of chiseling out your face. Okay, so I'm going in with the sort of peachy colour. See, it is nice, but I do feel like it's taking a lot of building. And it's just not the most pigmented highlighter I've come across. And a lot of people swear by this palette. I mean, it's nice, it's building up to be really pretty. Okay, it is really nice actually, it just needs a bit more building than maybe some highlights do, but once you do, I do actually think it looks really pretty. I want to try a different shade though on my nose cube sponge chin. I think I'll go for the more whitey gold one in the corner here for my nose cube sponge chin. So we're going to move on to brows now, and I'm going to use just a clear gel to brush them through. It's got like this sort of applicator, which to me that seems more like an eyeshadow thing, like something you'd use to smudge under your lower lash line. I might actually try it for that. It's also got a little spoolie in it. I'm just going to use the Benefit eyebrow brush that actually came with the set that came in. It was like part of the Christmas present set that my sister got me last year. So I'm going to use the more deeper shade that looks more like it'd work for me, the one in the outer bit. I'm just going to draw these on, I guess. I'm not really used to using powder, it's been so long. I used to be a really big fan of it. Like, I think there's like a Freedom one that I used to use a lot. Who remembers Freedom? Those were fun times, weren't they? It's like quite a natural sort of looking brow. I'm going to use the same clear gel to set in. So in the inner corner, I'm going to use the white shade from the Morphe palette. I'm going to use that little Benefit brush actually. I feel like it could work quite well for the inner corner. I realised I forgot to put the sleek blush on, so I'll quickly do that now. So it's just like a really like nice rosy red colour called Flushed. So pop a bit of that. And yeah, just my cheeks. So I'm going to use the dark green that I've used earlier from Mont under the lash line. Should I try this little Benefit brush again? Then I'm using the light green called The Hill to blend that out. I use the same two mascaras as before, the bottom lashes. Okay, so we're using the Morphe liquid lipstick in Goldie, which looks like this. It's very gold, and this should look nice and festive. Right, well that's everything on, so I'm just going to clean it up a bit, sort my hair out, be back. Okay, so this is the finished, complete Christmas themed makeup look. I mean, it's okay. I don't love it. I don't like that I'm a different colour to my neck. I just don't like it. It's just not my thing. I think there's a lot of great products though. I think all of the cheap products are really nice. The eyeshadow is not terrible, and I actually think the shimmers in that palette look really pretty. Like the gold that I use, and I feel like the light green I used were quite nice. It was just the more deeper greens I just feel like look a little bit just meh on me. These shimmers, like more so on this side of the palette, are actually really pretty. It's just I'm not sure about some of the greens. The mascaras are a bit bleh. The eyeliner and the waterline's pretty good. Soap and Glory eyeliner, I feel like it works well, it's easy to use. I just feel like I wish it was a bit more like pigmented and a dramatic black. The Barry holographic topper actually I think looks quite pretty, just in the centre. See, the thing with the Morphe liquid lipstick is it's so pretty, but as you can see it just settle into all of the lines and cracks on the lips. Actually, I would probably prefer to use that as like a liquid liner or something, or even like an eyeshadow. So overall, that's my Christmas look done. I am gonna hopefully have enough time to do another Christmas look, pick from my kit. I have got like a green liquid lipstick that I would quite like to use. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.